we're going to go over the definition of IE again. And then I will go over the curriculum of the Industrial Engineering Department, because now I feel that it's time to go over the curriculum so you will understand what your choices are in the future. You will have more understanding of the choices that you have. It's not only merely names, but I will also describe the courses with respect to where they belong, which group of activities that we carried out is related to that course. And at the same time, you will have an opportunity of asking me questions regarding anything related to 102 and Industrial Engineering Department of Bilkent. So this is going to give us some chance. And once we're done with that, I'm thinking that it will take probably an hour. And after that, I will distribute your exams, and you can look at them and then leave liberally, if you don't have any further questions, of course. Remember all the time that this section is, this hour is basically for those of you who want to ask questions, so I will be available here. Okay. If I go back to the definition of IE again, which I think is probably much clearer with respect to the definitions that are usually given when before university, it's basically, we have two sentences. The first sentence actually describes what we are expected to do. The second longer sentence describes what the equipment that we have is, in general terms, of course. Now, the first sentence says about the duty, so let me repeat that quickly. It's concerned with the design, improvement, installation of integrated systems of people, material, information, equipment, and energy. So this is basically what we are going to be expected. Now, the second part is important because in the second part, what we're trying to do is, as a university, we're trying to make sure that you have the equipment which is described in the second part. Okay, so that's the role of the university. It draws upon specialized knowledge and skills in the mathematical, physical, and social sciences, together with principles and methods of engineering, which is going to be partially covered in courses that you have IE, or you might have some courses that are going to have a different abbreviation in the beginning, but those are geared towards all the engineering faculty and designed to specify, predict, and evaluate the results to be obtained from such systems. So basically, this covers the type of things that we are going to ask from you. We are going to cover in the next 3 years at the department. Now, of course, there are certain subtle courses, subtle in the sense that it is not directly going to serve this purpose, but we need those in order to fulfill the requirements that we have in the first sentence as well. For example, you're going to take humanities courses, which is going to improve your critical thinking skills, okay, which we know that it's going to be an integral part. Now, you cannot consider it as a part of social sciences. You cannot consider it as a part of anything, but basically, it is going to improve those type of skills. You already have taken some courses in the first year, which may not be put in that category, but again, those are the basic courses in which we're going to build upon to improve other skills. So this is the way to look at the curriculum. Now, any questions on this definition? Any words that you don't understand? Anything which is not clear in this definition? Please ask now, because I think it is a very appropriate time to ask. Okay. So next thing that I'm going to do will be simply go over the curriculum of the Industrial Engineering Department at Bilkent. Now, you already have this curriculum available, and I already distributed that to you. But instead of going from here, what I will do is I will actually go to the website of the Industrial Engineering Department, and make sure that I find all these courses there with their descriptions, and then start describing from there. Okay? So that's what I will be doing now. Okay, so let's get rid of this. And okay, now this is the web page of Bilkent University. So I want to make sure that I reach the industrial engineering department. So here we have the Department of Industrial Engineering. This is our website, which is mostly in English, but you have certain parts in Turkish as well. Actually, you have the Turkish version as well as the English version. Almost 99% actually is similar, but you have certain headings which are in Turkish, the description is in English. Sometimes you may have the reverse, okay? This is not bad because this is what we are actually. Now, you might be familiar with this web page. No, this is in Turkish actually. Okay, so let me convert that to the English one. Okay. Okay, this is the English one. Okay. But still we may have some Turkish, some English. Okay? No problem about that. Now, you might not be familiar with this web page. There are lots of information in this web page that you are going to use in the next few years. Now, these are usually, if we don't change the structure of the web page, which usually it changes like once every 2 years, but it recently changed. So these are some activities that are going on in the department. For example, we are always looking for faculty member position available. You always are going to have this. This doesn't necessarily mean that we need somebody, but we are always open to very good people. Okay, so that's the way to describe it. Now, this is another activity that is going on in the department. This is the annual supply chain and logistics workshop that has been going on for 8 years, and this year we're going to have the 8th of those workshops. So if you are interested in that, you can find a lot of information about these workshops. This is information for prospective students, and you might know this already. But then, for example, we have the final exam schedule for the department, and actually it's for the faculty in general. All the courses are listed there. These are the seminars that take place in the department. Most of these seminars are academic seminars, but you also have some industrial people coming in and describing their problems, so on and so forth. These are regular seminars that are held almost for 20 years. Most of the Fridays, we have those seminars. And it is a continuous thing that goes on. And there are other activities in the department. Now, this is basically some comments from students. These are news. For example, we recently had Barbaros Tansel Memorial Lecture. Barbaros Tansel was a professor in our department. He passed away last year in a very unexpected manner. So we have the so-called memorial lectures on him, and we're going to have it every year. So at least for a few years, I know that. So basically that was something that came into the news. So here you have his wife and the department chair and the speakers that came from all over the world. One person came, I think, from Europe, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is the web page. Now, in this web page, you have this part which is more or less constant. In other words, you have information for students, information for academics purposes, which means that it describes us, usually. If you look at the possibilities that you can reach from there. This is students, so you have the academic calendar, undergraduate program, exchange program, and the facilities that we have in the department. This is for us. If you want to know us, okay, you can find information on us from that site. This is admissions to different programs, including exchange. And this is the alumni news. Alumni activities are pretty good compared to the university in the industrial engineering department. So this is another thing which is going to be important. And then we have so-called industrial partners, and if you are interested in that, it basically talks about a number of things that we have been doing for quite a long time. Okay, so this is the web page, and it is very lively. You usually are going to have new things coming up quite frequently. Okay, now let's go back to our undergraduate program. Now, if you look at the undergraduate program, we have a number of things before we come to the curriculum. Okay? Now, the first one is mission. What is the mission of this industrial engineering department of Bilkent University? Now, is our mission similar to the mission of the other universities? It may look similar, but we have our own separate, different points. So, the first thing that I will do is go over the mission statement, because you have to learn where you are and what are the special features that we are expecting from our graduates. So mission statement is actually a statement of expectations. Okay? It does not necessarily mean that all of you are going to be the same way, but our expectations is written in this very short mission statement. Now, after that, we have the educational objectives. Okay? And I will talk about that as well. These are very short statements, but you have to understand and know where you are fitting in this picture. Now, the mission statement is actually quite a standard mission statement that you can find. You won't be able to read this now, but we are talking about a world-class academic environment and in collaboration with industry, for example. This is sort of one particular point that combines academic integrity, academic research, as well as the industry collaboration. Now, the department is committed to graduate competent industrial engineers equipped with proficiency to adapt to technological and societal changes and who are poised to excel in the field. So you can see that the objective, the primary mission of the department is not to make sure that you are ready to work at the day that you graduate. We are not only looking at that, we are looking at the future. So that's the reason why you will be bored in some courses, because you're going to find the material very general, very theoretical, very fundamental, but it turns out that if you want to sustain your knowledge for 50 years, okay, you have to have a good background. So this is basically what separates this department from most of the other departments. There are similar departments, of course. I'm not suggesting that we are unique, but we are looking for long-term active action or long-term effectiveness of the graduates, not necessarily immediate effectiveness. Whereas some universities are going to write here, we want to make sure that they have a job at the day that they graduate. We are not necessarily looking at it that way. Okay, and that's the value that we have actually. Okay, now the second part is the educational objectives. So we have more detailed expectations written here. Now, the first two are more or less standard in the sense that it has our touch, but you expect a university program to have those. The first one is graduates will solve problems in their respective professional domains by applying industrial engineering knowledge and skills such as analytical and systems thinking. Okay? You can see those two words that we already are familiar with. Graduates will participate actively in functions such as analysis, design, implementation, improvement of systems in a manufacturing or service sector. In manufacturing or service sectors. Now, these are more or less the same. The third one is also important. We are expecting that our graduates will engage in advanced degree programs or continue professional development via workshop training programs, license certifications, or independent studies. This is crucial. This shows that our understanding is you will never stop learning. Okay? This is important. So we are giving you a basis, but we want you to improve and adapt yourself throughout your working life. Whether you are in academia or whether you are working in the industry or you have your own job, you have anything which is not related, you think, to industrial engineering, But that formation that you have as industrial engineering will be very effective in whatever you are going to do in the future. So the third one is special. Now you can think that these are very nice things. Believe it or not, we are actually measuring those. Okay, that's what we do. That's the reason why we have this so-called accreditation, of course, because we can measure each of them in a very nice way, and we have abundant measurements that we have done up to this point. We have been accredited, I think, up to this point, maybe 4 times in the last 20 years, which is standard, actually. You get the accreditation once every certain number of years. And so these are the things that we can measure. Actually, for each course, if you remember the course description that we had in the beginning of the semester, we had course objectives. Actually, it turns out that I go back and try to measure them as well, but in a more subtle way. This is not very much true for IE-102 because it is a relatively new course. We're still not sure how to measure certain things. But for the other courses which have been taught for quite some time, we actually measure the fulfillment rate in each course. Okay? So you can see that when we're talking about curriculum, it's not something that came up last night and we decided that we should be teaching that way. Okay? So there is a huge effort underneath this type of curriculum when you are setting it up. It may look very standard to you. You can say, oh, you had these are the courses and so on. But each of them actually has some thinking behind it. We have lots of measurement. We make sure that actually we fulfill our educational objectives in the direction of the mission statement. So we do this all the time. We actually do some kind of industrial engineering when we are setting up the curriculum and measuring the objectives and so on. Actually, this is not only for industrial engineering. By the way, accreditation is much more general, of course. It's true for universities, it's true for departments, programs, and so on. Okay, so you can see that this is what we have in our rich website. So there are a large number of things that you can reach from this website. Okay, now let's come to this undergraduate curriculum. Okay, so what's happening? Oh, we're still waiting. Okay. Okay. Now we have the undergraduate curriculum. Are you familiar with this website? Anybody who is not familiar? So I'm just, okay. But we'll go over the courses anyhow. So what's happening? Okay. So we have this page, which is in stars actually. So when we click this, we're going to go to the stars page. So you have that, a number of programs in our department. One of them is the undergraduate program. The others are graduate programs. So this is the curriculum that you already have in front of you. So this is the first year. This is the nice 102 course. So let's start with 102. Okay, let's see what it is writing for 102 in the catalog, because basically this is what we are expected to do in this course. I am also checking it for the first time with you, so let's see whether we are going in accordance with what is written here. Okay. What is this description of this course? Familiarize the IE freshman with the profession by introducing the basic notion of process, design of processes and process improvements, notions of performance evaluation, processes, performance and their relations to decision making, mathematical representation of the decision making, demonstration using simple examples from daily life as well as more complicated examples from industry. I think this is more or less what we did. We probably did a little bit more than that, but I think this is probably, it fits the description. Okay, so this is for the records. I did my job correctly. At least that's my opinion. Okay. Now, let's move to the second year, because second year is what you're going to start seeing next year. Now, one thing which is important here is as follows. Now, most of the courses don't have we used to have in our curriculums, we used to have a lot of prerequisite structures. We still have some prerequisite structures, but other than that, we don't have a lot of prerequisite structures. Because basically we think that prerequisite structures are too limiting. Because you may be more familiar with certain topic, but you don't have the course that you took for one reason or another, and we don't want it to limit you. However, there is a logic in the order of the courses that you have, in the load of the courses that you have every semester. There is a balance between conceptual courses and more practical-oriented courses. And if you start taking courses from this curriculum in an arbitrary way, you're going to lose that integrity. Okay? So certain semesters will become very difficult. Certain semesters will become very boring. Certain semesters will become very repetitive. So there is a certain logic which is based on the improvement or building up the maturity from one semester to the other. So my recommendation would be, okay, if you are a regular student and you don't need to hurry up and take courses from other semesters. Just take courses in its own semester. If you are somehow irregular, try to make sure that your irregularity ends in a certain semester, and then you will continue with the current curriculum. Because I think this is very important to do. Now, we don't have, of course, we don't have bans or limitations and so on. We don't do that, but we used to have this advising mechanism in which we would tell the students that try to make sure that you take all those courses in their own places. Okay? Now, this is my only recommendation, and after this, I will start describing the courses. Okay? Now, let's look at from the first course. I need to sit down, otherwise it will be very difficult for me to follow what's going on. Okay, please let me know if you cannot have. Okay, let's start with CS 113 and 114. So you have two CS courses. One of them is in the second year, first semester, and the other one is second year, second semester. Now, we are already knowing that we need some structuring with respect to detailed programming. Okay, you saw it in some algorithms. We actually deal with algorithms. Even the procedures that we describe in the exam, in the homework questions, require to be coded in the computer terms in a very systematic way so that we get the results that we want. And it will be done automatically. Otherwise, doing it manually or doing it once in Excel or doing it once in another medium is going to be deadly if you do it continuously. So in this respect, 113 and 114 are two complementary courses which builds up your programming capabilities as well as your computing capabilities. Now, the computing capabilities comes from MATLAB, which is a program that is going to ease your life with respect to data manipulation and doing some certain functions, evaluating certain functions without actually writing it explicitly. For example, you can integrate, as long as it is within certain standards, you can take integration actually. You can numerically evaluate integrals. You can numerically evaluate different things. You can numerically evaluate different series. Okay? And you do that in a very automatic way, but there is a certain language of MATLAB that you need to learn. So this is what you learn in 101. And you see that you're going to be dealing with vectors and arrays. We can see that like matrices. And there are a number of things that you're going to learn. And of course, this is also useful in manipulating the data, because we are going to see a lot of data, and so you're going to have that in those courses. You can see that you have different things about plotting, solving simultaneous linear equations, many other things, curve fitting, numerical analysis, etc. Now, these are all capabilities of MATLAB, and you're going to learn those capabilities. Now, instead of going to another course, let me go to 114. 114, on the other hand, teaches you a programming language, which is very standard, actually. There are many programming languages. Learning one programming language allows you to learn more in a very easy way. Okay? And you are going to learn a programming language. Currently, it is Java. It may change. Doesn't matter, actually. What you are going to learn there is, by learning this programming language, you will be able to write your own code, which is descriptive of something. Okay? Now, this is going to be extremely important because most of the things that we do in real life do not fit to the standard structures because we have one thing which is a little bit different. So we always need to play with it in a way. And this is what you're going to learn there, actually, to apply that in the computer. Conceptually, these two courses are not very easy. These two courses used to be in the first year, second semester, and second year, first semester. We moved it to the second year in the hope that you have the maturity to be able to cope with certain conceptual parts of the courses, because we want you to learn these courses in a very good way. It is going to teach you a lot with respect to different things that you are going to see in the future. So these two courses are the computer courses. Any questions on those? Okay. Now, I shouldn't be spending this much time for every course, of course. I immediately realized that. So then we have this GE 250, which doesn't have any unit, but this is basically a course with 251, GE 251, that makes sure that you are not a nerd. Okay, so you have some social activities that you organize, that you follow, and this is another thing that we need at this university, because basically we want people who are good in their whatever they are doing, and at the same time sociable and communicatable. Okay, we don't want Sheldons to be around. Well, we want Sheldons to be around in a more social way. Okay, Sheldon is the character that we had yesterday. Okay, the physicist who knew everything. Okay, then we have this Hume 111 and 112, which actually humanities. These two courses are probably courses that are very special in at least in the European and in the Turkish environment, in the Asian. US universities usually have these type of courses, but in Europe and in Asia, it's very hard to find these type of courses in the curriculum. The main reason is it's very difficult to find people who will be able to handle these type of courses. Now, we had a drive at Bilkent University almost 15 years ago that made sure that we have a continuous flow of very good people who are teaching these courses. Now, if you look at who are teaching these courses are usually taught by extremely high-level academic people who are graduates of the best universities in the world, like Princeton, Harvard, Columbia, and so on. And we're very honored to have this type of a structure at the university. Remember, I worked at the rectorlik office, and so I'm much more familiar with these type of things. These two courses look very dull, and you will usually call them sözel, verbal, okay? And you despise them as engineers. But it turns out that the critical thinking issues that I was talking about are conveyed through some very classical articles. And this is what they do in those courses. And it is going to balance your workload in that semester, because you're going to have a course like CS, which is completely conceptual. You're going to have another course like manufacturing processes, which is very engineer. Okay? And this humanities course is a very good balance in between those two. Okay? Now, then we have this IE 262, which teaches basic manufacturing processes. Now, remember, we talked about grinding and so on. I gave you a few examples. But 30% of industrial engineers, 30 to 50% of industrial engineers, upon graduation, work in manufacturing sector. And it turns out that in their estimated work life, almost 90% of graduates of IE work in manufacturing sector. Meaning that manufacturing sector has a lot of other things that comes with it. That's what I described you in the course. But the processes are certain things that you need to learn. We don't teach the several different distinctive characteristics of different processes, but this is the course that you are going to get the culture with respect to understanding manufacturing processes. Moreover, in the course, you are going to learn a lot of things about robotics, flexible manufacturing systems, CNC programming, and so on, related software, which turns out to be very important because it's a specialized software which allows you to control those type of systems. So this is what you're going to see in that course. Okay, and let's move. Then we have linear algebra and differential equations. This is basically, I already told about that. There are two parts of this course. Linear algebra is the part that teaches you how to deal with linear structures. Remember, I told you that one of the techniques that we had in industrial engineering is linear programming. And you're going to learn the mathematical basis for linear programming in this course. There are many courses that we have which builds up on this course. Now, especially if you have a possibility in having some kind of a academic degree in industrial engineering, not necessarily professional, this course is going to be extremely valuable because this course is going to form the basis of the mathematics that most of the graduate students in our department and in many departments use. So this knowledge is invaluable, actually. Okay? And also you're going to use it in 202, 303, which uses this course as prerequisite. Okay? So this is one of the chains that we have, actually. Okay, and let's move. Then we're going to have introduction to probability. I am not going to say a lot of things about this. We already know that this is something that we learn. We have a number of courses that we use these type of notions, and probability is going to be the first one that you will require. Okay, second semester, we already talked about this. Then we have this mathematics courses, which is the introduction to statistics. And it turns out that we are discussing whether we need another statistics course or a data analysis course in the department as a required course, although we have a lot of balances. So what we did in the recent years is that we introduced those type of courses as elective courses. It turns out that more and more students are taking those courses. So statistics is something that we need to learn, because if you remember the analysis that I was talking about when transforming from process to a problem description, that's where you utilize data analysis. And statistics is going to give you the initial ideas of those two. Now, IE-202 and 271. Let me start with 271. 271 is actually the course where you are going to see a lot of things about how to manipulate processes, how to make them more visible. Like drawing process charts, you start with very simple things, and you actually talk about time study, work measurement, materials handling system, layout design. You're going to learn in this course about classical industrial engineering, which are the basic topics of industrial engineering. So you're going to learn some tools to solve those, and at the same time, you're going to enhance your capabilities of dealing with processes. Now, the other course in the second semester is 202, which is, again, conceptually hard course in the sense that you start mathematical modeling examples in this course. The first month of the course gives you a number of different mathematical modeling possibilities, most of them being linear. But still, conceptually, what you are doing is you are getting a certain statement and putting it in mathematical form. We have seen a few examples. Don't think that we learned it. There are many different things that you're going to learn in that course, including the solution in the most general form of linear programs and a number of things about network structures. You're going to learn many different network problems. We have seen a few of them, but you're going to learn many different network problems in that course. This is one of the courses where the failure rate is pretty high. Okay? No, I mean, you can see it from the figures yourself, of course. You can always check it. But the reason is that it is not because the instructors are more demanding than the others. No, it's not the reason. The reason is this course is conceptual. Conceptual, and that's the reason why, one of the reasons why we are having this 102, because we are hoping that in 102 we have motivated you to go underneath those conceptual issues in 202. Because we want to make sure that your main advantage as industrial engineers, modeling, putting it in a mathematical format and solving it, is the main advantage of IEs over other smart people. Okay? So this is the second year. Any questions? I might be repeating certain things that you already know, but I think this is a valuable exercise. Now, in the third year, I am not going to open them again, because basically we got the idea. The first one is CS281. This is in alphabetical order, by the way. There is no other intention. The catalog automatically orders everything in alphabetical order. Okay, so the first one starts with CS281. This is again a computer course where you're gonna learn how to manipulate big data in the computers. So it turns out that this is one of the courses almost 70% of the project people who are doing the project course in the fourth year uses. You always need to have big data manipulation. You cannot simply say that I will be able to do that with the computer. No, it turns out that when you have a data which has 300,000 rows and 65 columns, you need to know what you want to obtain at the end in order to be able to manipulate them properly. So, of course, you can use Excel, but you need to use it in a more sophisticated way. Now, if you do it once, maybe you can do it in a certain way, but if you are going to do it continuously, then you need to make sure that you are doing it properly. Okay? So this is actually the course which is going to teach you how to do those. Then we have the only economics courses that we have in the department, which teaches microeconomics and macroeconomics. Basically, what we do in a certain manner is very similar to what economists are doing, but economists are doing it to larger scales, like they are talking about regions, countries, world affairs, whereas we are doing it in the organizational level. The tools that we use are more or less the same, but you're going to see that economists' view of the world is very robust in the sense that they don't deal with details. On the other hand, engineers deal with details, and that's our main difference. The techniques that are used, the trade-off idea that we have is going to be reinforced in that course. So when you are taking that course, always remember the trade-off idea, because economics is based on trade-offs. Should I put my money here or should I put my money here? This is actually what we have been discussing since the accident. Because basically everybody is saying that why didn't we have another elevator going to the mines, which is going to cost probably only $300,000, which is nothing, okay, rather than spending money to something else. So these are all trade-offs, and you have it at the organizational level, you have it at the personal level, and you have it at the country level. And this course is going to be teaching that. Now, the third one is the GE301 course. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this course has been modified. I was in the committee of that. If I may be mistaken, I'm not sure. But it should be, again, 3 units. And the way that it's taught is a little bit different. What the aim of that course is basically similar to humanities course. But this time, we're going to have the same critical thinking arguments coming into picture for the issues that relate science, technology, and society. The mining example, the accident that we have, is going to be a very good example to be discussed in that course. Okay? Because basically, we are talking about technology, we're talking about science, we're talking about society, and we are thinking that manufacturing is a part of that. And that course is basically going to specify certain things related to that. The student comments that you are going to see for the previous years are not going to be correct, because the way that this course is taught has been changed. Okay, so you still have large amphi classes as we have in this course, but you also have single sessions. Okay, where you're gonna meet in groups of, I think, smaller numbers, like 30 something, like 102, similar to that. Then you have the summer training. Now, when you have the summer training here, it means that you are expected to do in the previous summer. So you do your summer training, you complete the requirements, and you write it as a course here, which means that you are going to complete a report and submit it. Okay? So these are extremely important. I think you are all aware of the importance of summer training. So I have been discussing with some of you. You already know that you need to go to a good place. You need to extend your summer practice to 3 months, because that kind of experience is always good in understanding what you want to do. And I think the student clubs are also very much geared towards this type of summer training. And we have a person in the department who is taking care of the summer training issues. So you can always discuss with that person about what you are expecting and so on. There are millions of documents in the department website about summer training. Okay, so please read that if you didn't up to this point. Okay, the next 3 courses are going to teach you fundamentals of certain topics in the viewpoint of industrial engineering. One of them being modeling and methods of optimization, where you're gonna develop on the things that you learned in 202, but now learn new techniques, new approaches, new problem types, and again, new types of mathematical models. In 325, you're gonna build upon modeling again, but at the same time probability, because now we are going to talk about stochastic modeling. Again, very basic issues, very basic models, how to come up with those models. You're gonna learn, sometimes you learn, sometimes you don't, depending on who is teaching that. You're gonna learn certain things about, similar to queuing theory, okay? But there are a number of things that you're gonna learn, and you're gonna learn the name Markov there, actually, which is another thing that you are going to appreciate if you like it, of course. Then we're gonna have the production planning course, which is a functional area, production planning. Remember, we already discussed certain parts of production planning. You're gonna learn a number of problems of production planning and mathematical, almost all of them is mathematical models. And you're gonna learn how to solve it. You're gonna learn how to make a schedule. What is a schedule? What kind of schedule? What are the performance measures? Millions of things will be taught in this course. So this is, everybody thinks that the first semester of the 3rd year is the year where you actually sit down, in the sense that you learn certain things that will differentiate you from others around. Okay? And so you can see that these are more fundamental, maybe the first 3, but the IE courses there are very fundamental IE courses. Now, of course, if you start taking one of this course earlier and so on, you might have some maturity problems. Okay, because the pace of those courses are much faster than what you are going to see in the second year or in the first year. The pace will be quite fast in these courses. Now, the second semester of the third year, we're going to have technical report writing and presentation. This is something that I feel is very important, and we already discussed that, so I'm not going to spend time on this. And then you're going to have a course on simulation. There's a change here. It should be 4 units. Okay, it's no longer 3 units, it's 4 units, because it has a lab where you learn a simulation language. So there is a language that you can perform simulation in an easier way, relatively, but you have to learn that. So you have to spend hours in the lab to learn that simulation. And then we have the engineering economic analysis, which is basically, interests and so on. So you're going to learn how to handle those type of problems. What is the present worth of a certain investment? And this is very much related to decision making. And you will be able to compare monetarily the effect of different things in a very general environment, of course. And then you have the production information systems, which is, again, a course that is special to Bilkent. If you look at other departments around, you are not going to have that. Now, it is becoming more and more difficult for me to explain what those courses are all about, because they have their own jargon, and it becomes harder. But in this course, what you are doing is basically you have this whole conglomerate system where you are manufacturing a product or producing a service. You have a huge data coming in, you make decisions all the time, and basically this whole thing should be thought as a unique body. And what production information systems does is actually approaches that problem in a very systematic way. From operational to tactical to strategic decisions, they are given in a certain accordance. So it describes a certain system structure. Okay, and then we have quality assurance and reliability course, which is the course that we have on how to measure quality, how to measure the reliability. We have the spare parts problem that I asked in the exam. Okay, we are talking about the reliability of the machine. How are we going to measure the reliability? You're going to learn it at that point. We introduced the problem in the first year, but you're going to wait 2 years in order to learn how one can deal with those type of problems. And then we have one IE restricted elective. Okay, now the 4th year program, I will take another 5 minutes if you allow me, and then we're going to take a break, okay? Well, you think that you don't have much choice anyhow, so is that the way that you think? No. Okay. And so 4th year starts with summer training course. Okay. Now, summer training means that you're going to complete that summer training before the fall semester. And then you have all the electives. Now, you see that there are no courses here which are required. So we have electives that you are going to select. One tendency that you have, besides using your phones all the time, okay, in general, that's what I feel in general, is that you think that you can take some of these electives before. Okay, because it's a breadth elective, I can take this course, and so of course you can do that. But when it comes here, you're going to see that again there is a distribution of courses. You have a number of elective courses here that goes together with your project elective, because project takes a long time. It's really unfortunate, but it takes a long time. And in that respect, what you want is you want to make sure that you have courses that you like, that will go together with that. Otherwise, you're going to start having problems. And usually people have problems if they do it elsewhere. They have the tendency of leaving certain courses to the 4th year and taking the elective courses before. Additionally, these elective courses, you will only know what you want at that point in time. You will be mature enough to know what you are really asking. What are those elective courses? You have 2 breadth electives, 2 here and 1 here, 3 in total, okay, which is going to be very helpful in figuring out what you're going to do later on. And then you have 2 humanities and social science electives. Again, it depends whether you are interested in psychology, or political science, or anything else which is offered underneath that. There are hundreds of courses that you can take. Okay? So don't limit yourself to the ones that your friend is taking, okay? Because you can find a better one if you look yourself. And then we have IE restricted electives, and then we have the project elective. Now, the project course has elective in the following sense. Currently, we are offering, oops, that's wrong. Okay, currently, we are offering 2 courses that will encompass your project requirement. One of them is the regular project course that we have. And for a limited number of students, I think in total it will be 15 to 15. It's around 50. There is another course which is GE-401 and GE-402. It's an interdisciplinary course. And the name of the course is Innovative Product Design and Development 1 and 2. Some students are going to take those courses together with students from other disciplines. What they do is they actually form a certain firm. And it looks very interesting at this point. You may always say, oh, I should take that. But it's not that simple, actually. So you're going to form a certain business, and there will be a certain product that you want to develop. So there will be some depending on the problem, there might be some electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, a business student, or a student from economics. Or if it is a product that's related to international relations, there might be a student related to international students. And you will be there as a single student, mostly single IE student, who will be working in this interdisciplinary team and trying to come up with the product. It is very tough, actually, and it is much harder at that level to work with other people who are your peers, but not in the same field. But it's a challenging course. So we allow students to take either GE-401, GE-402 sequence, or IE-477, 478 sequence. Okay? But the number which can take that is very limited. And it depends on what they propose. Sometimes it is rejected, so they come back to 477. And there is a number of different procedures. Now, over the years, we may have more possibilities here. We are going to have, but I don't know whether it is going to be in your curriculum or not. OK. So this is actually about the project course. Now, one final thing that I want to show is the list of electives that you can take. For example, this is the list of courses which is possible to take for the humanities electives. Now, it turns out that you and your friend will be limited, I'm talking about statistically, on the average. You will be limited to 3 courses only. Because you want to take whatever your friends want to take. But if I were you, being an intellectual person in the 4th year, I would think about this list and make sure that I follow my dreams rather than following my friend. Okay? I think you can find a course for yourself. Now, similarly, for the breadth elective, you have the following list. And the list is being updated all the time. You have chemistry courses. You have design courses from architecture department. You have a number of CS courses. You have communication courses from communication department, econ courses, international relation courses, law courses, management courses. Management courses are difficult to get. That's where everybody goes. So the quotas are very much limited. You have math courses. Anything that you may want to think about is there. And finally, the IE restricted elective list is here. So this is also long, but not as long as the others. And of course, every year we can only offer a limited number of courses. Usually every year we offer around 10 courses. Okay? And believe me, 3 of them is going, usually pushes all the limits, because all your friends go to those 3 of them. You don't go there, but your friends go there. Okay? And the others are sort of at certain standard level. So you have to make sure that you actually fulfill your desires when you are selecting electives. Desires will include going with your friend, of course. Okay. Any questions? This is a yes.
Why can't we take language courses as an elective course?
Again?
Why can't we take language courses as an elective?
Well, there are a number of reasons related to that. If you personally, officially, the department board makes that decision. Okay? Now, if you ask me personally, on the other hand, language is something that you can learn from outside sources. For example, now I am hearing, for example, if you start working in France and you don't know a word of French, okay, there are some crash courses which is going to teach you French in 1 month. And you will start living in France. Now, we don't do that here. We have the standard system, which is going, you need to take maybe 6 courses to come to that level. Whereas crash courses, which is more professional, can be done outside. So, I mean, in my opinion, if you ask me, it is waste. It is a waste if you fulfill your requirements with language course. This is my personal opinion. Nobody is thinking like me, because if everybody thinks like me, then we would not be having a lot of language courses. Of course, you might be interested in language, but you can always take it as on the side, if you already have some knowledge of certain languages. Now, there are certain languages which I accept that you won't be able to find in outside sources. For example, if you want to learn a certain dialect of Chinese, which is sometimes available here, or a certain level of Japanese. Okay, now, and those courses are offered at the university as well. Usually only 1 or 2 students take, and those courses are closed. We offer them, but nobody takes them. Everybody takes introduction to German, introduction to Italian, introduction to Spanish, and they don't continue. Okay? So, but those courses are offered. You can always take it, but it's not included in the curriculum. It is going to be included in your grade point average, of course, if you take it from extra. Okay, but I think you will learn. If you are serious, you can learn it from outside sources, believe me. Professionals are doing better job than academicians in teaching languages. That's the reason why the preparatory schools structure is different than university a little bit. Okay, because they are more professionals geared towards teaching one thing, whereas universities are more universal. Okay. Anything else? You can ask me later on as well. Let's take a break for 10 minutes, and then I will distribute the exams. Or I may distribute the exams immediately without taking a break if you want.